Hi everyone, welcome to Awkward Author. My name's Alyssa Grasso, and this is my usually weekly, vlog and podcast about my awesome, sometimes awkward author life. And I say mostly weekly before because I did miss last week's episode, so I do apologize about that. I'll explain that all in just a little bit. But I was not struck down by the coronavirus, so, still healthy here, so that's good. And actually making some great writing progress. I'm going to update you on that. Have a little shout out for public libraries, especially during this crazy time, and that's kind of inspired by that Internet Archive news that broke over the weekend. And if you haven't been following on that, I'll talk about that. Try not to get up on my soapbox and be ranting, but I cannot make any guarantees. So first of all, the reason that I missed last week's episode, if you're watching the video, you can see. Well, now he's gonna lay down. But my dog is behind me here. Anyway, he had a little bit. He was not feeling too good last week. Monday night. I usually record this on Tuesday mornings. I'm recording on Tuesday morning now. But Monday evening, he got very sick. I don't really know what it was. But he was having some serious issues. Was like just too weak to even walk. I had to like carry him outside so that he could, go pee and stuff. And he was really scaring me because he's 15 years old, so, not a young pup. And, it was in really rough shape last Monday night. And it just came on so suddenly. Like, we'd gone for a walk. He was, we came back, he was playing with his toys. A half hour later, he was just, like, not himself. And, like, a few minutes, more, and he was just, like, on the floor and couldn't, like, move or anything. So it was a little scary. And of course, this is a crazy time to be having like an emergency situation with a dog, after hours and all this stuff. So, I'm like, well, I'll see, how he's doing in the morning. And, he was definitely doing much better Tuesday morning. I mean, he was still under the weather. He still wasn't really himself, but he was definitely he wasn't drinking water. He wasn't doing anything Monday night. He was like really in rough shape. And so, Tuesday morning he was better. By Tuesday afternoon, by late in the afternoon when we normally go for a walk, he was, barking and wagging his tail and back to normal. So who knows what it was, but that is kind of why I didn't record last week. I actually made an attempt to record, and then I was having technology issues, and I'm like, you know what, this is just not happening this week. So I do apologize, but that was the reason. And hopefully we don't have any more emergencies or dramas coming up that prevent me from getting new episodes out, but it could happen. These are crazy times. Who knows what's coming down the pike. And we're just hanging in here and doing our best. We're really not, we're avoiding going out in public, obviously, and just trying to stay healthy. And things seem to be improving here as far as we did a grocery pickup the other day, and we basically got just about everything we ordered. We had to substitute some things. I mean, that's something that we've noticed has changed, with this whole, pandemic thing, and the shortage of, items in the stores and stuff like that is we used to be choosier about things, well, this is the brand of tissues I like, and that's what I'm going to get. And now it's I'll just take whatever you got, so we've become less selective, I guess. We got used to having so much choice, and now it's whatever. So I don't know if that'll be a permanent change for those of us who've gone through this whole experience or what, but just interesting thing to note. But we're doing our best here, and as I've said, I'm in Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania. My boyfriend's on the New Jersey side. Obviously, you've seen the news. New Jersey is bad as far as number of cases and such. If you know New Jersey geography, I mean, it's basically the northeast part of the state, which is immediately adjacent to New York City, is the worst part. But it's spreading, so there definitely are cases around here. And like I said, I'm in Bucks County, which technically is a suburb of Philadelphia, and the counties that are in the Philadelphia area have been the hardest hit in Pennsylvania, pretty much. Although again, it's everywhere at this point, guys. So, I know we talk about like, we'll just quarantine the places that are bad, but at this point, I think that would just be, like shutting the barn door after the cows have gotten out, because it's already out there at this point. It's just a matter of trying to slow things down and, try to avoid, contracting it yourself and avoid spreading it and all that stuff. So be safe out there, be smart, don't be having parties like people have been doing. There was just someone, in New Jersey got arrested because he had a party at his 500 square foot apartment with 40 some people there. So, don't do stuff like that. That's just dumb. But we haven't really had any issues as far as me driving back and forth. We drove to get groceries the other day. Everything was fine there. I know they keep talking about, well, there's, you got to stay home. There's a stay home order and stuff. I mean, the idea is to stop people from congregating. I mean, no parties, obviously, and even just, they don't want people hanging out, in a public park or hanging out on the sidewalk or, as we used to do. That stuff is off limits right now. Anyway, so with all this staying home, I actually have been doing pretty good with writing progress. And in fact, my big announcement, if I had actually recorded my episode last week, was going to be that I finished the 4th book in my 4-book series. Woo! And by finished, I mean finished a first draft. So still a lot of work to go, but the big part of it, I think, is done. The writing. Obviously there will be rewriting and stuff like that, but the main writing is actually done. Right now I have 4 books. I have a 4-book series right now. Needs editing, needs a lot of work, but it is in one sense, I guess, complete. So that is exciting for me. I've only written so many books in my life, so to have written this 4-book series to me is a little bit of a big achievement. And like I said, a lot of work to go. I am now in the process actually of editing my first round of self-editing. So I've actually gotten through the first book, and I'm maybe halfway through, maybe roughly the 2nd book. So I am moving right along there. Now that's just, to me, that's a first round of self-edits. There will be a second round that's a little more detailed. This is more changing anything that's going to be, because I change stuff later on that I have to change, filling in things where I have something happened X years ago because I forget what I originally, said the date was and stuff like that. Some things like that I have to just, as I was writing, I didn't want to have to go back and check things. So, I just put placeholders and stuff in there. And so I'm filling all those things in right now. Maybe changing characters' names that are too close to other characters' names. Although I did have an incident where I did a find and replace. I forget what it was. I think I changed someone's name to Stan. And then I realized, oh, that's no good because there's a character named Stu. It was too close, right? Anyway, I don't remember exactly what I did, but I did a find and replace with this whole thing, and what I ended up doing was, I guess I didn't use quotes, I don't know what I did, but I ended up changing all instances of the word Stan to whatever the other name was, and then I managed to change them back because what I was doing was changing, the STAN that's in, standing or understanding or something like that, so I changed it back, although what I ended up doing was I somehow put the capital S in there, so I had all these random capital S's, it'd be the word understanding with the S capitalized, in the middle of a sentence, so had to make some fixes there that were just due to my own, stupidity, but not a big deal, and I don't know, I might find some more when I go through and do a second round of edits, because there were quite a few instances where that happened, but that was just a dumb mistake on my part there, but things are moving along with this series, so I'm really, I'm excited about that. It's I don't know when I'll be putting this out. It's maybe a crazy time to be putting out a new book. I don't know. People do need reading material right now. They do need stuff to stay entertained. And I guess that segues naturally into what I wanted to say. So I'm a public library user, as a lot of people who, love books are, and I used to work in public libraries. So I'm a strong supporter of libraries. I used to work for a company that sold to libraries, so I love libraries, obviously, and, I use my library regularly. Now, all the libraries in Pennsylvania, as well as, a lot of other places right now, are closed. And in fact, I got an email from my local library, I think this was yesterday, that was, I think the subject line was like, the library is closed indefinitely. So that was just ominous, but as you know, this whole pandemic has been progressing, like originally they said schools were closed for 2 weeks, and they extended it. The same thing with libraries. Well, at this point, they're not even going to set an end date because it just has to keep getting extended. So the library is closed indefinitely. But that doesn't mean you can't use the library just because, the physical library is closed. Obviously, libraries have done a lot in recent years to, stay up with technology, and most libraries have a lot of resources that are available digitally to their patrons. So, for example, my library has a subscription to the New York Times. So the New York Times has a paywall. You know that if you try to read articles from the New York Times, you're not a subscriber. I think there's maybe like a 5 article per month limit or something like that, and then you have to pay them or you can't see the article. But my library subscribes to that digitally, so you can get digital access to the New York Times. So that's just one thing, but there's lots of publications, Consumer Reports. There's different magazines and stuff that you can get digital access to by way of the library. The other thing that most libraries make available to their patrons are ebooks. And there are different ways that libraries go about doing this. So sometimes they use services like Hoopla or Overdrive, and if you're an author, that it would be to your benefit to make sure your books are available through such services. And if you use like Draft to Digital, you can easily do that. And other ways they do it is just to buy ebooks that can be distributed through some different platforms, through the library's website. So like my library uses something called Cloud Library. And so, you can download to your phone or to your tablet or whatever the Cloud Library app. And then when you borrow a book, an ebook digitally from the library, you can just read it in the Cloud Library app. It's pretty convenient to use. Same thing like Hoopla and Overdrive and stuff have apps so you can borrow books and read them digitally. They also have audiobooks available. I know Hoopla has like movies and music too. So there's a lot of different things, resources that you can have access to, in digital versions, in germ-free digital versions, right at home. And so it's a great way to keep kids entertained if you have a lot of kids at home that are, maybe driving you up the wall too. So, definitely I would say look into what sort of digital offerings your library has and how you can go about using them. One other thing that I noticed that my local, like my county library has started doing with the whole, pandemic and the branches being closed, like the physical locations being closed, is you can now register for a library card online. So even if, this whole thing started and you've been meaning to get a library card, you never got around to it, and now the libraries are closed, like you can, I don't know about everywhere, but I know in Bucks County right now, you can, register online for a library card. So that's, pretty awesome. And the reason, some people are like, well, why should authors support libraries? But they're giving your book away for free and all this stuff, but that's not quite the case, because libraries still have to, in one way or another, pay for the material that they circulate unless they're receiving a donation. They have to, buy books, they have to buy ebooks, or they have to pay through a service like Overdrive or Hoopla to make books available to their patrons. And guess what? When they're buying this stuff or paying for these services, you as an author do get a cut of it. You get royalties as a result of library sales, and library sales are huge. Libraries are some of the biggest buyers of books, so there's definitely a benefit to authors. I don't know why authors wouldn't like libraries, because you make a lot of money from libraries. And frankly, as someone who worked in libraries, I don't think you're losing out on a lot of sales by your book being available in libraries. I mean, there maybe are some people who they would buy a book, then they see they can get it for free from the library, so they just borrow it from the library. That's probably going to happen sometimes, maybe. But you're going to get a much bigger chunk of readers because a lot of people who are using the library are not book buyers. Like, they don't buy books, they use the library, and so if they can't get a book from the library, it's not like they go out on their own and buy it, they just don't read it, they read something else. So, and for different reasons, they're not book buyers. Some people just don't believe in spending money on books. It isn't, something they're used to doing. Other people can't afford to. There's a lot of people who use the library because, they don't have the funds to go out and buy all these books or, pay to rent movies or something like that. So that's why they're using the public library. And so personally, as an author, I want more readers and I want to make money, and so the best solution for that is people use public libraries. So why am I going into this whole big rant about libraries, and why I like them and why you should use them? Okay, so over the weekend, news came out that Internet Archive had put up on their website a bunch of illegally scanned editions of copyrighted books, in copyright books, newer books, making them available for free for anyone who wanted to download them, which is obviously illegal. It's piracy. There's no gray area there. I mean, if you're taking a copyrighted work, scanning it and putting it up digitally for anyone to access, that is piracy. I mean, it's in book form what Napster was doing, back in the day. So it's completely and totally illegal. And obviously authors are, incensed by this. But the real kick, kicking someone when they're down, is that NPR and the New Yorker, possibly other publications, I don't know, but those were two that I saw, were actually promoting this. Like, at this time when you can't use, the public library, now you have access to this internet library of books. And it's like, no, like this is not an internet library. This is, a piracy site. And, I'm really disappointed in NPR, National Public Radio, and the New Yorker, because, these are organizations, publications, that you would think would support, independent artists, would support authors trying to make a living, and apparently, they're not. I mean, they were shouting the praises of a book piracy site, and so, yeah, obviously there was just authors all over the place that were just furious by this news, and it's especially, I mean, right now when, obviously, you've seen my income reports. I don't make a lot of money from my books. At most, we're talking like $100 a month, and it's usually less than that. So, it's not much money I have coming in from my books, but it is some income. And it is, at the moment, an income stream that I still have coming in because, with all this stuff going on, I'm seeing, income streams just get shut down. One of the things that I do is I have I design t-shirts that get sold, and I sell them in other places, thankfully, but the main place I sell these t-shirts is through Amazon's Merch by Amazon program. That is shut down right now. Like, I make more money from that than I make from my books, probably around like $400 or $500 a month right now, is what I have coming in from that, but I won't, because that is shut down. And so it's like, I sell other stuff through print-on-demand sites, and my sales are way down because the kind of stuff I sell, like, party invitations and party supplies, well, no one's buying right now because nobody's having parties, or they shouldn't be. So, yeah, it's crazy times. And so, like I said, I do have my reselling business, which is basically on hold right now. No, I still have some income coming in from that because I do have, stuff in Amazon warehouses that is still being sold, but at some point that's going to run out too. And that's, my example. There are a lot of authors who have just regular day jobs, or they make a living, doing speaking gigs and things like that are, they're not making money from right now. So, at a time when, authors are pretty strapped for income, to have something like this happen is just, it's disgusting. It really is. There's no other way to look at it. And, the people that try to justify it and say, that authors are the bad guys and, there's nothing wrong with it, are just very misguided individuals. That's all we'll say about that. Anyway, I looked on there. 3 of my books had been made available through this, the Internet Archive site. You can go in there. You can search titles or, your author name or whatever. The first 3 of my books, those are the only 3 that were traditionally published. So my books, Popular, Ferocity Summer, and Shallow Pond, were all available on there to download. So what you can do is you can send an email to them asking them to remove your books. They ask you to include, the hyperlink, the web link to the titles that you want removed. So I went ahead and did that. As far as I know, I think I looked earlier, they were still there. So I don't know how long it will take. They're probably swamped with requests right now because no author that I know wants their book made available on a book piracy site. And, this isn't the first site, obviously, to, pirate books. I think the real issue is that this one's kind of put out there as almost like a legitimate thing, and then you have like NPR and the New Yorker saying how great it is or something. It's really, it's just very inappropriate. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm a little bit, it's just stunning. I guess, it's like, okay, I realize these are crazy times and we have a pandemic going on, but we can't just, throw all our laws out the window and just become this like lawless society or something, which is kind of like what this, situation is. And I said I wasn't going to get up on my soapbox and rant, but I am. I'm sorry. I just, I can't help it. That kind of thing really, really upsets me. And, as someone who's trying, trying what she can to make a living from her books, and then something like this happens, it's very upsetting. That's all I'll say. Anyway, so, I'm going to sign off there because obviously I'm just a little bit too heated and steamed up about that. But anyway, hopefully you guys are staying safe there, doing well. I will be back. Barring any other drama, I will be back next week with a new episode of Awkward Author. If you'd like to know more about me and my books, you can visit alyssagrosso.com. That's ALISSAGROSSO.com, or check out awkwardauthor.com. And I hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe, staying healthy. I hope you're not driving each other too crazy if you're stuck at home with multiple people or family or whatever. And we're going to get through this, guys. We are. But thank you again for watching or listening, and I'll see you and talk to you again next week. Bye for now.